Hey everyone, it's Yuto from sachetrecipes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious fried shrimp dish called Ebi Mayo. This recipe is for 2 portions. First, let's look at the ingredients. For the batter, I'm going to use 70 grams of wheat flour, 1 tablespoon of rice flour or cornstarch, half teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt and pepper, 100 milliliters of lager beer. Make sure it's nice and cold. For the mayonnaise sauce, we'll be using 4 tablespoons of Japanese style mayonnaise if you can get it, 1 tablespoon of condensed milk, 1 teaspoon of ketchup, 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, half teaspoon of soy sauce, half teaspoon of lemon juice or lime juice, and half teaspoon of paprika powder. Then finally, for the rest of the dish, you'll need 250 to 300 grams of king prawns or tiger prawns, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch plus 2 pinches of salt for cleaning, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch for coating, 2 garlic cloves, oil for deep frying, 100 grams of shredded cabbage, and dried parsley to garnish. So first, I'm gonna start with the batter. All I'm gonna do is simply mix the dry ingredients together. I use rice flour because it's very fine and makes the batter light and crispy like tempura. You can use cornstarch or potato starch if you can't find rice flour. So once it's mixed, place it in the freezer. We want the ingredients to be cold when we complete the batter later. Now I'm gonna move on to the sauce. It's super easy. Just mix Japanese mayonnaise, condensed milk, ketchup, rice vinegar, soy sauce, lemon juice and paprika to a bowl and mix it well. Usually Ebi Mayo is totally coated in this sauce, and that's how I'm gonna serve it today, but it also works great as a dipping sauce if you want the shrimps to stay extra crispy. And I have to say, condensed milk is very important in this sauce. So that's done, just set it aside for later. Next we're gonna prep the shrimps. I have about 300 grams of fresh shrimps here, so we want to take the shells off. I find the easiest way is to just pull the legs off and then the shell comes away like this. Japanese dishes tend to leave the tails on for presentation purposes and to add extra crunch, but if you don't like that, you can pull them off too. They come off quite easily. Once all the shells are off, we're gonna devein them. Simply take a cocktail stick and pierce the back of the shrimp, kinda hook the vein and pull it straight out. This vein is the digestive tract of the shrimp and it has a black grit inside. If you leave it in, your shrimp's gonna have a bit of sandy texture when you're chewing them. As long as the shrimps are cooked, eating it won't make you sick, but it's a bit unpleasant. So all of my shrimps are deshelled and deveined. Now we're gonna clean them. Add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and 2 pinches of salt and just rub it over the surface of the shrimps. The cornstarch helps clean them thoroughly, while the salt pulls out any excess moisture. This is gonna make them cook better and taste better. Once they're all covered, wash them thoroughly with cold water. These are all washed. I'm gonna dry them with a paper towel. Finally, we're gonna coat them with cornstarch. This just helps the batter stick to them later. And these shrimps are ready to fry. Heat your oil to 190 degrees Celsius, that's about 375 degrees in Fahrenheit. Take your dry ingredients out of the freezer and add 100 milliliters of chilled beer. I'm using Sapporo Lager because I love it and I want to drink the leftover later, but any lager with bubbles works great. The reason for the lager is alcohol evaporates faster than water, so the batter is gonna be crispier when it's fried. It also contains foaming agents. This protects the air bubbles in the beer and makes the batter light and airy. This is not really a traditional method, but I like beer battered fish and chips, so I got inspired by it and I thought, why not? So once it's mixed well, coat your shrimp and add them to the heated oil. Be careful not to overcrowd the pan, otherwise the shrimp will stick together. If you want to add extra flavor to your oil, you can add a couple of whole garlic cloves in there. I forgot to do that in this first batch, so I'll add it to the next one. We're just gonna fry the shrimp until the batter is lightly golden. This will only take about 2 minutes or so. Make sure to keep an eye on them and flip them halfway through to ensure they're cooked evenly. Ebimayo is a type of chuka ryori, which is a kind of Chinese dish that has been adopted to suit Japanese tastes. Other examples of chuka are things like gyoza and mabodo. Ebimayo was actually created by a famous Japan-born Chinese chef called Shu Tomitoku. His nickname is Iron Chef, and he's probably one of the most famous chefs in Japan. Once they're done, place them on the wire rack to let the excess oil drip off. Now I'm gonna fry my second batch, so first I'm gonna remove the bits of batter floating at the top and add my garlic cloves that I forgot earlier. The garlic adds a subtle flavour, but it's really good. Next, in with the rest of my shrimps. Ebimayo doesn't necessarily have to be in a batter. You can also just coat the shrimp in potato starch and fry them that way. But I love the light and crispy batter form, so I decided to use this method. Another 2 minutes or so and they're done. Finally, we're gonna get our sauce and coat the shrimps. Just mix them around until they're all covered and serve straight away. You can also sprinkle them with some parsley for a finishing touch. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see more Japanese recipes. Thanks so much for watching, hope to see you again next time.